Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Appreciate you joining us. Hope your weekend is starting off well. We are into October here, October 12th, 2024, and this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. It's a local real estate show. It's hosted by Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmerang, myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We're here from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Saturday morning on News Talk 830 WCCO. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Really, no holds barred. It's a fun discussion, a lively discussion. Obviously, a lot to talk about with the market. Scott, good morning to you, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and we are going to talk everything real estate related. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us throughout the entire hour. You can either text in your questions or you can call in. We always love to hear your voice. And then also, if you've not checked us out before, go to mnrealestateshow.com, and you can find out everything about the team, everything about all of our great partners, a couple that are one that will be on today, Brad Sanford. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Again, 612-294-6949. Really, at any time throughout the show, a lot to talk about, especially with a market update, interest rates, as well as inventory levels in the Twin Cities. I've got some folks joining us on a variety of the platforms. Thanks for tuning in. And again, you can find us on all, really any and all social media. We always enjoy streaming it here every Saturday from 10 to 11. 612-294-6949 is how you can comment really at any point at all. And we are getting ready to go live on air right now. And appreciate you joining us here. You ready, Scott?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here, and hope your weekend is starting off well. It is October the 12th, 2024, and this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We are a local real estate team, the Minnesota Real Estate Team, that hosts this show every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on News Talk 830 WCCO. It's hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmerang, and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Each week, we welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at any time. That comes right to us here in the CCO studio, 612-294-6949 by phone or text, or comment on any of the social media streams where you might be catching us. Scott, top of the morning to you there, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show every Saturday from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Love your questions. Today we're going to talk everything real estate related, but we're also going to talk a little bit about what's kind of occurred since rates have dropped from 7.5 down to 6-ish right now. There's been an energized market for those out there working with people that are buying under $450,000. You've definitely seen a switch from where you can kind of take your time going for a second showing. Now we're back to things moving a little bit quicker. Multiple offers are coming back, and we're going to talk about how long that can be sustained. What happens after the election? We're going to talk a little bit about all that.
Yeah, again, appreciate you joining us. Want to give a couple quick shout outs. Congratulations, Jason Walgrave, who longtime friend, outstanding agent, and just a wonderful guy. His dear daughter, Tanian, got married last night to Riley Bester. Riley is a newer agent on the Minnesota Real Estate Team, a wonderful guy. It was just a beautiful wedding over in Wisconsin. So huge congratulations to Tanian and Riley and the whole Walgrave family. Super exciting, Scott. It was a great wedding.
Yeah, great family. Riley is marrying into a really good crew. Those guys are they're all monsters. They're all 6'2", 6'4", and so I'm sure they had to get a bigger church to get all the Walgraves guys in there. But yeah, great family, and I'm sure they will have a wonderful marriage. And congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, guys. Super awesome. Also wanted to give a shout out as well. Adam Hartung with Midwest Money Management. He's a longtime partner on our show. He did a 25th anniversary boat cruise, 25th anniversary of Midwest Money Management this past week over in St. Paul. There were probably 250 people on the boat. It was a wonderful, just a wonderful event. So much fun. Just so proud of Adam, Sarah, Corey, really the entire team. Just an awesome business that they built up, Scott. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And Adam, besides being an incredible financial planner, just one of the best humans alive. So it was good to see him 25 years, and it was a lot of fun, and couldn't have got a better night. It was absolutely perfect, perfect night.
Yeah. So first segment of the show, what we always like to do is a little bit of a real estate update and a mortgage update. These are year-over-year numbers. Here in the Twin Cities metro, new listings up 11.5%. There were 1,337 new properties that went on the market. Pending sales or accepted offers, accepted purchase agreements up 4.4%, 935 pending, Scott. And then the overall inventory is still up about 12%. 12% more homes for sale in the Twin Cities, 10,293 active homes. Days on market, interesting. Days on market again is up 21%. It's up to 40 days on market. And then lastly, from a mortgage update, again, Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, wonderful company, Luminate Bank here in the Twin Cities, just a great organization. Average 30-year fixed is in the low sixes now, Scott. They said the numbers from Freddie Mac, it was 6.08 for the week ending September 26th. That's the lowest level in 2 years. Rates have fallen 1.5 percentage points over the last 12 months. Buying power has increased significantly. Here's a stat for you, Scott. Realtor.com is reporting the typical home buyer could afford a home priced $74,000 higher than exactly 1 year ago today for the same monthly payment.
That's right. Yeah, and that's why we talk about on the show casually about, if rates dropped into the low sixes or high fives, nationally it adds 9 million buyers to the pool. And a lot of times if you're not kind of doing this every day, well, how does that work? Well, that's how it works. If you were qualified for 450, now you're qualified for 525. If you were buying a house for 375, now you can buy a house for 450 for the same payment. So it brings a whole lot of people in. What does it do for kind of the trickle up marketing effect? Well, if your house was worth 400 and now let's say you're getting 425 because of the reduced rate, well, that allows you to have another $25,000 in your pocket to move up and buy a more expensive home. So what happens is you start to see the lower end. I hate to say it, but lower end right now is around 450 or below, which is crazy. Yeah. The lower end starts to pop. People have more money in their pocket. They can buy more expensive homes, and here we go. And that's what we like to see is just a nice little slow decrease in rates. We don't want to see anything goofy like go from 6 to 3. Just a nice little slow decrease. Stay around that 5.5 to 6%. We're not going to have prices go through the roof again, which is going to throw people out of the market. We'll have a nice little steady increase, and that will bring us out of kind of this up and down market we've had for the last 3 years.
Yeah, again, a lot to talk about today. We've got a busy show. Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance, also is here. So excited to have Brad join us. We're up against our first break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at any point. 612-294-6949. Appreciate you joining us. Hope your weekend is going well, and we'll be back after the break. Thanks everybody for joining us. Appreciate it. A lot of nice comments coming in. Good morning to everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. A lot going on already. We did have it looks like a texter question who had asked about the home loan pre-approval process. Basically saying, do I really need to do this? I'm very well qualified. The texter is saying. Yes, you do. The short answer is you still do have to do the approval process. Either if you are paying cash for the property, you're going to have to show a proof of funds statement with your offer, showing you have the cash, or if you are going to be getting financing, the offer will require that solid pre-approval letter. And in order to get that letter, you do have to go through the process itself. For example, with Mike Overson and his team, it's just applywithmike.com. You can take a snapshot of your financial situation, get the letter, allow you to make the offer. So I know that is frustrating sometimes, especially for, sounds like maybe this borrower is kind of a well-to-do borrower and doesn't want to have to go through that process, but that's kind of how it works here. And speaking of that, just a kind of a fun side note. Yesterday, we had a team member with a buyer. The buyer said, hey, I've got, it was a type of currency overseas that is used. A little bit unknown, this currency. And the buyer wanted to make a cash offer on a property here in the Twin Cities. And so we had to inform the buyer that he needed to sell that currency, convert it to dollars, US dollars, have it in a bank, a US bank, and then submit that offer itself. And so that's hard. I know that's hard to have to think about that. But in this case, I think it was some type of crypto or some type of currency. And the sellers want to see hard US cash in a US bank versus crypto. And so that's kind of a hard one, Scott, where they're trying to do a pre-approval with something that isn't cash.
Oh, that's that we're not on air, right?
No, can I take your phone for a second?
Yes.
Yeah, here.
See if you can get.
Yeah, I know.
You can't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to share the show. Yeah, you know, you got to have, and I know people that believe crypto is real cash is going to get angry at me, but you got to have real money to buy a house. You actually have to have money in a bank to buy a house. When I was really a new agent, maybe within the first 6 months to a year, I had a seller or a buyer bring in a case of money, $100 bills to buy the house.
Case of money,
and he was flabbergasted that the title company would not allow him to buy that property with cash.
Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, good to see you.
Thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you.
All right, we're going back live on air here. News Talk 830 WCCO. Welcome back to the second segment of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Appreciate you joining us here. And as always, we welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Each week, we like to feature a few listings of the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. The first one is with a great agent, John Love. John has a listing down in New Prague. It's 212 8th Street Southeast in town for $450,000. It is a 2-story home, and John says it's tucked away in a peaceful neighborhood with golf course views. A recently remodeled kitchen, custom cabinets, granite countertops await your family gatherings. They got a new roof in 2024. Scott, there's 4 large bedrooms on one level. The owner's bedroom having 2 walk-in closets. It's a warm and charming family room with a built-in entertainment center, fully unfinished basement, ready for your ideas. And this one owner home is exceptionally clean and move-in ready. Be sure to check that out. 212 8th Street Southeast in New Prague for $450,000. I know the owners and the family really well. Just a wonderful family in New Prague. And Scott, this one, you being a golfer, it's right there on the course.
Yeah, very, very nice. And besides, John Love is the listing agent. You get to say John Love.
John,
which is also fun.
John is a great
He
guy.
is.
He's a heck of an appraiser, heck of a real estate agent. So be sure to check that one out. We were just talking off air on social media about offers. When you make offers, you need, if you're going to do a cash offer, it has to be in a local or a U.S. bank. We had a gentleman asking about, it was kind of like a cryptocurrency or something that he was wanting to make the offer. Sellers want to see actual hard cash, Scott, in a bank.
Well, and more importantly, the title company needs to
Yes.
see it. I mean, I was giving the example off air that when I was a newer agent, probably 6 months in the business, a buyer had showed up with cash to buy a cash property with actual physical cash. Well, they will not take that to buy a property. Still, they will not take that to buy a property. It has to be seasoned. They have to find out where it's coming from. It needs to be in your bank so that
it's wired now.
It's wired so they can source where the money came from. And he just could not believe it. He said, "I've got $185,000 cash. That's cash."
Here's a quick tip for you. If you are buying or selling a home, working with a title company, we work with, have a long time worked with the very good folks at Trademark Title, which is owned by Charity Malmberg, Eric Malmberg, just a great organization. When you are buying a home now, title companies require a wire to be sent.
Yep.
The reason why, and you want to verify that, you want to talk on the phone with the title company to get those numbers. There's so many scammers out there, unfortunately, that will create fake emails, do different things, say, hey, Scott, send your money here. It's always good to talk to a human at the title company before you wire the money.
Yeah, we do that with every single seller and buyer. That if it is not Trademark Title, and you know the names by now, here are the names. If it's somebody else, question it every time, because unfortunately there have been people that have showed up at closing that have wired their money, and they have wired it to the wrong place, and their money is no longer there.
Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance. Good to see you, buddy. Great to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, and that would be terrible having $185,000 in cash. All the verification you have to do and all of that.
Well,
having been a banker, I can tell you that would be a nightmare.
Well, you know what's crazy about it, and we don't run into it as much as we do now. But I remember back, in 99, 2000, 2001, there were certain groups that dealt in cash. So through their business, they operated in cash. And so I remember having to get gross receipts from cash register to the lender so that they could actually find out where all this cash came from. And they were able to buy a house, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah, I had a texter. Again, you can text or call anytime, 612-294-6949, saying, guys, what do you think of this? 40 days on market. Does the market seem slow, or is that okay?
Well, I'll answer it two ways. First of all, it's not really 40 days on market, because you got to remember new construction timeframes are in there as well. So you've got specs that are, to be built specs that might have 200 days on market because they're not even done yet. So I would say that realistically, we're probably more like 25 to 30 days on market. And has the market slowed? Absolutely, it slowed. When rates went to 7.5, it slowed. When you're looking at a $350,000 house that's been on the market for 6 weeks, that market slowed. Now we are pulling out of that, as we talked about earlier on the show, with rates down now in the low sixes. That anything under 450 that is in an area that it deserves the 450 is moving very, very quickly again. But yeah, it was a slow time.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting to see. And again, it's super important with your agent to be looking at your local market conditions, type of property you have, single family versus townhome, condo. We are seeing, generally speaking, single family pretty strong demand, townhome, condo a little softer. It's because of one of the reasons is the insurance world, the hail, everything going on with insurance, with HOAs. It again doesn't mean stuff is not selling, but generally speaking, the townhome market is softer right now, guys.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And the single family, again, it's just starting to really ramp up. So, I've been telling a lot of my buyers that are, they're buying right now, they don't have anything to sell. They're just at the cusp of still being able to get something at a pretty good deal, But I'll tell you what, if we drop into the 5s and we stay in the low 6s for a period of time, it is going to get aggressive again. So right now, again, moving into October, November, December, if you're a buyer, right now is the time you want to get on it and pull that trigger, because it's not going to be pretty in the spring.
You know, and about insurance, I read an article that last year, 2023, insurance carriers applied for 4,300 rate increases. This year through October 2nd, they've only asked for 2,200. So the increase in rates is slowing. The carriers are understanding how it's hurting people, but they have to recover their losses, but they're asking for less rate increases.
So when you
bright
say
spot,
asking, are you saying asking to the consumer?
so they go to the state and they get their rate approvals approved by the commissioner of insurance. So the Department of Commerce, and they have someone in charge of it, and they approve those rate increases. Yep.
That's interesting. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, so who makes that decision?
So the state and the Department of Commerce makes the decision that yes, and it's kind of an easy process, but a carrier, so for example, State Farm in California has asked for multiple rate increases. They're going to increase their renter's insurance probably by 50%. They're going to increase their auto, their home. They're increasing the condo by 42%. So you, as an insurance carrier, you say we need to have this rate, because your actuarialists give you that, right?
Okay.
Of what we need to cover our costs and make a little bit of profit. And so then you take that rate to the Department of Commerce, the insurance commissioner, and you ask them for that approval. They say yes, and then you can raise your rates on your clients the next year.
So
my free market here on the back line is just going up. Why in the world does there have to be? I don't understand this. As a company, if farmers has looked at everything and they need to increase their premiums, why should there be any government agency that either allows them to do that or does not allow them to do that? Because the consumer will either pay for the increase or they won't pay for the increase.
You know, the government has to have their hand in everything.
Oh, that is just annoying.
So just help me understand though, then, is that on the taxpayer, the additional, so if you need to go and say we need an extra 30 million or whatever, is that just then, I suppose, wrapped into the budget, you know, from a taxpayer standpoint, additional cost?
So we're raising rates on our clients. So we're saying we're going to raise our rates, like State Farm
10%
in California, 10%, just a generic number. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And so our rates will increase. So they people that are insured with Farmers, State Farm, Allstate, whoever it is, they're the ones that would be paying the increase.
I see.
But you have to get approval for. You're saying you have to get approval
Yes.
for that increase. You can't just as a company, hey guys, we're getting killed. We need to increase. You know, like I used to own preschools, and at the end of the year, I would do an evaluation based on what was coming in, the kids that we had, and we would either increase fees or we would not. I can't imagine having to go to another party to say, hey, we're getting hammered here. Is it okay if I increase my fees?
Yeah.
And sometimes they won't let you leave the state. So, yeah.
We actually had, again, another text question come in. We'll hit this after the break. We're up against the halfway point already here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Before the break, wanted to touch on one other listing. This one's in Lakeville, 17481 Jasmine Avenue in Lakeville. It's listed for $353,000 with Karen Amato, a great agent on the Minnesota real estate team, Remax Advantage Plus. She said it's a great property. It's on a large corner lot, one level living. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It's got a jetted tub, ceramic tile, shower, glass door, newer paint, carpet, stainless steel appliances. But very nice property. Again, when I take a look at the pictures on this, really a nice looking home. Again, $353,000 for this property with Karen Amato. Has that one listed, 17481 Jasmine Avenue. Be sure to check that out. We're at the halfway point of the Minnesota Real Estate Show, 612-294-6949. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for joining us, Brad. Good to have you with us, buddy.
And, you know, I speak from experience on that because a certain company that won't be named that I work for didn't get approval on a rate increase, and they had to pay a big fine. So
that is
interesting.
That is just crazy to me. I mean, I just can't imagine. Well, I suppose. I mean, you know,
it's consumer protection.
I suppose it's
maybe.
it's a regulated industry.
Consumer
so
protection.
if you want to give a discount, you want to give an affinity discount. So anybody that's a realtor, you want to give a discount to, you have to get that approved through the Department of Commerce and the insurance commissioner too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I guess, I'm not a regulation guy, but looking back at what was happening back in 2005, 2006, on the lending side, there needed to be some regulation in place because they didn't understand what they were being charged. They didn't understand that there was a back room where guys were making a ton of money and they were being overcharged. So,
sure.
so I get it to a point, but I also think that you stay out of the free market.
Biggest tip. This one is to improve your credit score. Biggest tip to improve your credit score. Do you have anything, Scott?
Biggest tip to improve your credit score would be
Pay things on time.
Yes, pay things on
time. But I'm talking about one thing that you could do right away. That's the question, right?
Yeah, biggest tip. It just says biggest tip to.
Pay things on time. Don't have any 30-day late.
Or because I've taught this as a banker, if you get a credit card and you have a limit of 2,000, charge 500 on it. And don't pay off the total, right? Because why are they giving you the credit card? They want to earn interest, right? So take it over 4 months and pay that 500 off with the interest. You show them you use the card for a reason, and then you also paid it off over time, and you have paid them in full. They earn their interest. You're not as big of a risk. Your credit score goes up because you utilized it correctly.
Yeah, part of it is too. I think about last night at the wedding with a lot of younger folks is having a credit card. Setting up a credit card on it and then paying regularly with a low balance on it, because a lot of times what happens with first-time buyers is they don't have any credit. You need to have some type of trade lines on that. And that's sometimes a frustration for first-time buyers is they have no trade lines at all.
Only Ryan would talk credit cards at a wedding.
Well,
yeah.
Well, and I've always thought that until you're 25 years old, you should not be able to get more than $1,000 limit on a credit card.
Sure.
In general, I mean, obviously there's exceptions, but when you give a 19-year-old a $5,000 limit on a credit card, they feel like they've got $5,000.
Right.
And so, they go out and they have no idea that, oh my God, their payment's $900 a month.
Here we go. We're going back live on air. Thanks for joining us on social. Welcome back to the second half of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We appreciate you joining us. Each week, we do like to hit a number of listings, featured listings for listeners to check out. We've got one in Bloomington, 2261 Overlook Circle in Bloomington. Liz Rao with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus, has this one, Scott. It is a well-maintained mid-century modern home. It's on 2 acres. It's got a very private setting overlooking 9 Mile Creek right in Bloomington. The bluffs are overlooking, of course, the Minnesota River Valley. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage home. It's set back on a quiet street. It's got wood floors throughout the upper 2 levels, wonderful sun porch, allow you to take in all the beauty, Liz says. And again, it's right in the heart of the Twin Cities with easy access to downtowns, to the downtown restaurant, schools, activities. Check that one out, 2261 Overlook Circle for $575,000. A really nice mid-century modern home right in Bloomington, Scott.
Yeah, love the bluffs.
Yeah,
so pretty.
It is a beautiful area. Again, we've got Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance, joining us today. This is a great week to have you on. The whole news cycle over the past 7 days has been about Hurricane Milton. Brad, I can look at your sheet and your notes here, and I see nothing but the hurricane on there. What do you have for us today?
Well, originally I was going to say, what service have you given up for an app? And I was going to talk about technology with insurance, but with Hurricane Helene and Milton, it just seemed to take over everything that I was reading. Did you guys know that 95% of the homes in this country are within 800 feet of the 100-year flood zone, which means in the last 100 years, that area that they have designated as a 100-year flood zone has flooded at one time or another.
Huh.
So we're within 800 feet of that. So flood insurance is probably going to have to be thought of differently, because we're looking at California, Florida, 25 to 5% of the people there have flood insurance. That's it.
Mm.
And outside of Florida,
So
1% of homeowners have flood insurance.
So if you don't have flood insurance on a property, again, see, here it's weird because you'd be required to have it here if you were within the FEMA floodplain.
Everyone is, yep. If you have a government loan.
So
yep.
so if you don't have flood insurance, I'm assuming you decide not to carry it, and then your home is completely destroyed. You're out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
Wow.
Out of pocket. Yep. The private insured losses, they're making guesses right now for Helene, could be up to $14 billion of cost.
That is not being covered.
That's not being that is the private market insurance loss is 14 million because they have flood insurance. And then the other flood insurance that is through FEMA is 2 billion. And they're talking that the losses are 50 to 80 million dollars.
$1 billion.
Sorry. So that's a big, huge difference there of 14 billion being covered by private flood insurance and then 2 billion covered by FEMA and the NFIP. The rest is everybody's losing their house.
Isn't that crazy when you say 50 to 70 million? And I'm like, come on, that's nothing. It's billion, right?
It's
yes. Billion. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, I was wrong. Yep.
It's interesting to think again. A lot of listeners we know are snowbirds who may be going down to Florida. Maybe you have a place that you rent often down there. Maybe you have a place that you purchased. A lot of Minnesotans down in Florida, and just a heartbreaking week when you see that. Especially that whole region, not only Florida, obviously with Helene up into North Carolina in some of these areas, just with the amount of rain, Brad. Yeah. I mean, where do you go? Where do you start?
I had a client that has a second home in Florida, and she left her vehicle there, and she got notification from her neighbors that half of her house was filled with water. Her car was
underwater.
Destroyed, yep, underwater. And so she filed a claim to get the loss because she left her property there. If she had intentionally left it there for over 60 days, then we wouldn't have covered it. But because she drove down there, drove back with a different car, we covered that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's the water that is the major damage. I mean,
yes.
I grew up in East Grand Forks. My dad took a position there in the military, but we had the call it Isle de Sandbags. So East Grand Forks was an island. So the bridges were all underwater. You know, the 100-foot bridge you could see just the top of, and that water takes forever to get. It smells and it destroys everything. So I can't even imagine these folks after after it actually moves out, just the cleanup of just salt water, which of course is also just erosive as hell.
And then cars that are electrical with the water,
yes.
Obviously that never really, there's always problems later after that. So.
Yeah, again, Brad, Sanford Farmers Insurance has been a longtime partner with our team, local, obviously. Brad, what else do you have for us here today from an insurance standpoint, update for CCO listeners?
Well, I've been seeing that obviously we talked about before that the carriers are asking for less increases, but I think we need to start looking at insurance a little bit differently. The conversations that you have with your agent need to be more robust. They need to be, what coverages do I have to have? What coverages should I have? And then make a decision from there. So sewer and drain, if your pipes back up and it floods your home, if you don't have that coverage, you'd be paying out of pocket for that, right? So there's a lot of conversations that we need to have. And with the rates increasing so much, I was thinking about this during the week, is everybody shops insurance to get the lowest rate, right? And they want the best coverage for the lowest rate, which is what every insurance agent wants to provide. But at some point, we need to stop, take a look and say, this is what I need to cover my asset.
Yeah. Yeah. How about deductibles? Are you seeing deductibles rise?
Yes.
Because of this, where people are like, oh my gosh, my rate's going to go up double. I've got to increase my deductible another $1,000 or whatever to just try to float it.
Yes, that's a lot of the calls that I'm getting. We are increasing from 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,500 to 5,000. But what I'm seeing a lot of carriers do right now on renewal, and if you are getting new insurance coverage, they're adding a wind and hail separate deductible of 1 or 2%. And that's how they're trying to keep the rates down to keep it more palatable.
Yeah, I had a couple more questions here. One is in regard to cash offers. What do you guys think about cash offers in our market? We see, a lot of talk about that. Scott, thoughts on the cash offers?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last weekend about multiple offers are coming back, and
Sorry, cash guaranteed offers.
oh, cash guaranteed offers. Yeah, stay away from them. We're still in a market where you're going to get value for your home. I mean, when we're talking about 40 days on market, remember that is still an incredibly fast market. 10,000 homes on the market is still the second best sellers market we've ever had here. So giving your home away to a guaranteed sale is crazy. I cannot think of a situation where anybody should entertain a guaranteed sale. I really can't. Well, I don't want the frustration. Great. I'll put you up in a hotel room for 2 days, come back Monday, and I'll actually have an offer that makes sense for you if it's not dealing with the headaches. But taking 20-30% less than what your home is worth is just, to me, it is criminal.
Yeah, there's a lot of big national corporations that have bought properties really all over the country in that type of setup. And, just remember, in a situation, if someone's buying the property, they're looking to make money on the deal. That's the corporation's hope on it. And, talk to your agent, talk to him or her, help them understand market conditions, market value, important things.
Yeah, this is a real life answer. I'm listing this home in 2 weeks. It's a Rambler townhome in Farmington. We're going to be putting it on at $350,000. I will probably have multiple offers on it. We'll get anywhere between $350,000 to $375,000. The guaranteed offer that they were offered was $235,000, and she's 80 years old and almost took it. Luckily, her son was my client and called, and so I was able to go out but she was like, oh, I bought it for 160 20 years ago. I thought it was fair, $235,000. I mean, that's $115,000 that this woman potentially would have gotten ripped off on. There's no headache that's worth that. There's no lack of headache that's worth it.
Here's a random thought for you before the 3/4 break. The twins are for sale.
Yes, thank goodness.
So, but hey, hold on.
Are we buying them?
No, and this is interesting. Okay, you think about it, especially if you're a younger person or a grandson or granddaughter, son or daughter listening. The benefit of real estate. I had a friend tell me when I was a young man, said, Ryan, buy some stuff and hold on to it.
That's right.
And so the poll lads bought the team for $44 million. I was just looking at this,
held on to it.
Just curious what they paid for it.
Yep.
$44 million. Now they're selling it, or $1.5 billion. Obviously, that's a whole nother level of everything. But the simple thing with real estate, and that's how regular folks like you and I can build a little wealth, is you buy something and you hold on to it like the 80-year-old lady, and don't shortchange yourself and sell it for $50,000 less or whatever.
Well, we've used the example 100 times on this show that Ryan bought the majority of his investment property between 2003 to 2005. So you could arguably say that was probably the worst 3 years that you could have bought real estate. And so, my gosh, Ryan, what a mistake you made. Well, is it a mistake? Everything cash flowed. Rent came in, he made $100, a couple $100. Now we're 20-something years later. The markets came back. They're almost all paid for. I'm not to get in your personal business, but with somebody else, they would almost be all paid for. And so yes, it was a very good decision. So again, the point is, if you're somebody out there that had waited 5 years to leap on your first investment property because you're waiting for that
find the perfect time.
Yeah, go take a dart, go out to a neighborhood, throw a dart at it, and whatever house you hit, go buy it. That's how you get into real estate, and then hold that thing for 30 years.
Yeah, it is so true. It is so true. And I know it's hard. If you are analytical, you want to find the perfect time. You want to find the perfect house. And we'll chat more. We'll chat more after the break. I know we are up against our final break here. A lot to discuss. 612-294-6949. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. That's hard for people to understand, though, guys. Brad.
Yeah.
Well, it is. And since we've got our friends and we're not on radio, I'll tell this story. So 15 years ago when we were doing the show, or longer than that probably, there was a gentleman, excuse me, Jake, that would call in every week, in-depth investment real estate talks. about, I'm not going to jump in right now because the market's this, here's what's going to happen. And this went on for weeks. And then finally, I was like, Jake, how many investment properties do you own? Well, none. I said, where do you live? He lived in his mother's basement. I said, until you move out of your mom's basement and own a property. So your goal is to go out tomorrow and just buy something.
Yeah.
Then you can call in. And not to make fun of him, but the point is, all that time, all those years wasted to buy at the actual bottom is just ridiculous. Go buy something right now, make sure it cash flows, put a renter in there, hold it for 30 years, and you're good.
And why is that? That's because a return on investment is over time.
That's right.
So it doesn't get in, get active, buy something. Yep. Learn with the process, right?
Yep.
You don't want to jump into a perfect situation and lose it. So learn by jumping in.
And just remember too, when you're buying an investment property, you can get obviously most people, I did on everything, get a loan on it. So your return is also based on the money you put in. So not everyone goes out and has a bunch of cash to buy investment property. People get loans on it. So you put whatever it is, 10% down, 15, 20% down.
3.5.
Yeah. Yep. On a duplex,
So,
owner occupied duplex.
Yeah. What I always suggest for people that are young, I'm talking about young, like you want to get involved when you're in your 20s or late 20s or whatever, go buy a duplex because you can buy it as an owner occupant, live in it. You bought it for 3.5%, live in it. When you don't live in it anymore, you keep it as an investment property. Now it only costs you 3.5% to get into it. You buy your next house, it's a single family home. Maybe you do that again. And eventually you have investment property that you weren't putting 25% down on.
Yeah. How long have you been in your home, Brad?
This home, 6 years.
6 years.
Previous one, 7 years.
Okay. Are you thinking of moving?
The wife and I actually are thinking about
No, you're not
moving. We are looking for maybe a Rambler later in life because of my football injury.
Yeah.
I don't want to go up and down stairs for the rest of my life. So
yeah, people do love one level, just in general.
Yeah.
It is going to be I saw something. The hottest real estate purchase over the next 10 years is Ramblers, one level living with a basement. So when the grandkids come over, you can still have Christmas down there and whatever else. One level living with a basement and lake property within 2 hours of a metro city. I think that was it. Those were the two.
Yeah. Yeah. You think about that. I mean, from a Rambler standpoint, generally speaking, though, again, single family, wherever you're picking up the show or hearing the show, single families in demand, especially 450 and under.
Yeah.
Multiple offers. I was talking to an agent on the team, Mike Garbart, great guy, 11 offers on this property in Cottage Grove, single family home in Cottage Grove. So yeah, it's picking up.
My last 8 that I've written, all went to multiple offers, and the least amount was 3 offers, and I think the most was 7.
Okay.
So again, we're not back in 2022. It's not 70 offers. It's 7. So that is workable. It is workable. So if you're with an agent that helps you put your best foot forward on the multiples, you should still be able to get a house.
Brad, kind of last thoughts for folks, you think, from an insurance standpoint?
I can't stress enough to have a good relationship with your agent. Talk to them every year, every 6 months, just to say hi, make sure everything is where it should be.
All right, here we go.
We're going back that you need.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope your weekend's going well, everybody. We're going back live on CCO. Welcome back to the final segment of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope you and your families are having a great weekend. Scott, we've got 2 other listings to hit on. Tracy Knutson, great agent with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. She's got one in Eden Prairie, 18545 Chennault Way, Chennault. It's Tracy said an award-winning Minnetonka school district. It's got a private corner lot surrounded by wildlife and wetlands. 4-bed, 4-bath. 3 beds are on the upper level with a lower level 4th bedroom with a private entrance. The main level laundry room, bonus room. It's perfect for an exercise area, office, or additional guest space. Lots of updates. New roof in 2021. Newer mechanicals for peace of mind, and the neighborhood. Awesome location and neighborhood, easy access to highways, dining, shopping parks, walking paths, driving range, library, and athletic clubs. Nice property. You've seen that one, haven't you, Scott?
I have, and Tracy is a great agent. In fact, Tracy just jumped on our social media. So, hey, Tracy, thanks for joining. But yeah, great house.
Yeah, be sure to check that one out. Again, that is new on the market. And again, 18545 Chenal Way for $759.9 in Eden Prairie. Last one we've got today is Jack Dickinson, Julie Harris. Great one in Shakopee, 1663 Delaney Lane, 317.9. It is a 3-bedroom, has a loft, can be converted into a 4th bedroom with 3 bathrooms. It's a private end unit with a patio, yard space, over 2,100 finished square feet, new carpet throughout, Scott, functional floor plan, and it's close to restaurants, shopping, parks. 1663 Delaney Lane in Shakopee for $317.9.
Nice.
Jack Dickinson, Julie Harris, great agents, the Minnesota Real Estate Team, and Remax Advantage Plus. Nice property.
If I didn't write all these properties down, where do I go to find these properties?
Good point. mnrealestateshow.com. Throughout the week, you can go there to see all of our great partners, to listen to podcasts, to current shows, past shows. Maybe you're interested in a market analysis. Maybe you're looking to buy a home. We would love to help you, the Minnesota Real Estate Team. We've got a top agent wherever you're listening to the show here on CCO, Scott.
Yeah, and we've also got a button called Ask the Big Brain. So if it's just a question that you've got that you want Ryan and I to handle, you can just shoot us a direct email through that, and we'll answer it off there.
That is kind of funny. Whoever came up with that, that was
you.
It was not.
Such a huge ego on this side of the room. I was like, what should we call it? I was like, let's call it, we don't really know that much, but we'll try. And Ryan's like, no, how about the big brains? I said, yeah, that's all right. We'll go with that.
Hey, Brad Sanford, Farmers Insurance. Last thoughts for people. Again, grateful for you. Brad is a longtime partner. Encourage fellow agents, brokers, listeners. Reach out to Brad. He's kind, caring, helpful, great customer service. That's what you want nowadays. You want somebody to pick up the phone. You don't want an AI robot out in Temecula, California, sending you responses on your insurance questions.
Temecula.
Yeah, you like that? Temecula? Have you been there?
I have not been.
I have been there.
I didn't even know
Where
it was
is
a
that?
place.
That is kind of the south. It's out in the desert a little bit.
Oh.
The O'Neill brothers used to sell some music out in Temecula.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this week, seeing all the devastation down there. One of my buddies and his wife moved down to Cape Coral when they were right in the middle of this. And I was thinking about, sadly enough, big brain, I was thinking about the insurance side of this. And I think for anybody that has insurance right now, call your insurance agent this week or next week and ask them, what hazard, what peril, what am I exposed to? If something happened that I'm not aware of, what would I be exposed to and have to pay for? And have them find gaps in your insurance. And then you can make that decision. Do I need to add that coverage or not?
Because I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than that call.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than going down in your basement, finding 6 inches of water because your sewer backed up. And you go, oh, that's all right. I'm covered. You make the call and they're like, oh, unfortunately, we don't have sewer backup. And you're out of pocket for $15,000 to redo your basement.
And contrary to belief, the agent hates that call too.
Yes, I'm sure.
We don't like those calls.
Well, and it's hard. As a consumer, you want to save money. And there's a lot of things you should save money on. But when I think of title insurance, getting an owner's policy to protect your investment, to get homeowner's insurance, car insurance, I don't know. I just think shortchanging is the wrong way to go, Brad.
Yeah, you said something when we first walked in. There's a lot of scammers out there today, so protecting yourself is, you've got to do it. Absolutely. It's a cost you've got to accept.
It is. I mean, I think the players in your life that I would not skimp on. It is the doctor. It's whoever you use for an attorney, your accountant, your real estate agent, and your insurance guy. I mean, those are big ticket.
Or gal.
Sorry.
Your big brain real estate.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But those are all your big ticket items. Those are things that can be majorly bad. You work with a knucklehead real estate agent, make a bad purchase, that stays with you. It doesn't go away. It's not like you bought a shirt that wasn't on sale. You go with an insurance guy that is not on the up and up, and you find out that your basement's flooded and it costs you $60,000. It's not covered.
Yeah. Brad, best way for people to reach you, buddy.
Call Ryan on his cell phone or go to the Minnesota Real Estate Show and look up the insurance side, and you'll see my smiley face, and give me a call.
Yeah. Grateful for you. Thank you, Brad. You do
Love
an
you
awesome
guys.
job. We love you too. Scott, last thoughts?
No, just, again, multiple offers are happening again. Make sure that you're with an agent that you trust. I cannot stress it enough. When they give you advice, you need to understand that that advice is for your best interest, and that's what they're watching out for. If you don't believe that, switch agents.
My last thought for the day is I want to give a shout out to a dear family in New Prague. Fritz Pumper was a neighbor of ours. He passed away this week. And the Pumper family, my dear friend Nate, we grew up best buddies. Lost his dad, lost Fritz. So we're thinking of you guys. We're sending lots of prayers and well wishes. You're a wonderful family. And yeah, we're all praying for you here too. So thanks everybody for listening to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We do appreciate it. And we hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us on social media. A lot of different folks. If we didn't get to your comment or question, apologize. Always a lot to hit each week. Brad, good job, bud.
Thanks, sir. Blame me. I talk too much.
Yeah. Oh, Scott, good job, buddy.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, we will be back next week. If you ever have any certain topics you'd like us to hit on, too, don't ever hesitate to let us know as well. Hope you find value in this though, and pick up some good thoughts and tips to help you and your families with your real estate insurance, etc.